couple of weeks ago, talked about Joe's crack pipes. Remember Joe's crack pipes? Little play on words here with Joe's Crab Shack, if you're from the South, Joe's Crack Pipes. Anyway, this is from the Free Beacon Press. Biden administration to fund crack pipe distribution to advance racial equity. We talked about this a couple episodes ago, that basically about $30 million, the taxpayer money, was being used to buy clean crack pipes and needles for drug addicts and being distributed on the streets of American cities because we don't have enough clean crack pipes for all the crack smokers and heroin shooters out there. So you, taxpayer, needs to pay for them to do it safely. So our complicit state-sponsored news outlets, like the Huffington Post, made sure to run cover for Biden, saying, no, that's not true. That's not what's really happening. And so this article was online real quickly. Biden administration slaps down crack pipe funding after right-wing misinformation spree. And so they made sure, let's run cover for dear leader. Even though, funny thing is, even though the article at the Huffington Post absolutely articulates that the funding actually exists for quote-unquote safe smoking kits and supplies. Have that here on the screen. Quote from the Huffington Post, quote, the grant description stated that funding may go toward, quote, safe smoking kits/supplies, which include crack pipes, as Republicans have said, but that's hardly the focus, and the cynical GOP misinformation leaves out why medical experts endorse such an approach. Yeah, so while they tell you that is not happening, they actually tell you that it is happening. It's just kind of funny. Same stuff, different day, double talk from the media elites who like to create the narrative to foist our country into impending oblivion. Honestly, this is unbelievable. So I investigated that little link there that you see on the Huffington Post article, the grant description. If you click that link, you can go to the article, you can click on it yourself. It'll lead you right to the Department of Health and Human Services harm reduction grant that is available to the taxpayers to read and peruse for themselves. So here's page 10 of the Department of Health and Human Services Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration. That guy on the left, we'll get talking to him about him in just a moment. Look there, bullet point, purchase equipment and supplies to enhance harm reduction efforts such as, and then scroll right down there, and you will see, what do you see? Safe smoking kits/supplies. So the guy on the left, this guy is in downtown LA. He's not a crack smoker. He's a good man, and he's reporting live on the scene of LA to show you that Joe's crack pipes are already showing up in downtown LA, and you'll be amazed at the delivery system for these crack pipes. Watch this.
So every Tuesday and Friday in Hollywood, they have a Catholic church that gives this stuff out. This is where we living at, y'all, and this is what the government's doing. Joe Biden said he spent $60 million on paraphernalia for drugs, and this is what it looks like. It says being alive. This is a meth pipe. Yep. Right here with this bubble thing. I guess you put the meth in there. Mm-hmm. This is a crack pipe. Yep. Okay. These are all instructions on how to overdose treatment and education. This is the needle in here. I'm not going to open this. I'm scared.
That's for heroin?
Yes, for heroin. It has the alcohol pads and stuff. That's a real needle? It's a needle in there. Oh my God. And these things are like a black and mild filter that you put on the crack pipe so you don't think no one's saliva, so you don't get sick, and you can do your drugs. And so this is
they like if you're gonna do drugs, we're gonna give it to you so that you can do it the proper way without getting sick.
Because we're not stopping it. We're not going to stop it.
Exactly.
This is letting you know that it's going to be here. This is what they.
Yeah. Thank you to whoever that guy is reporting on the streets and exposing what the federal government is doing to our country, funding with your tax-paying dollars, funding crack pipe distribution on the streets of LA. Did you notice the mints that were in the bag? They had mints in the bag. They put mints in the bag so that you don't have bad breath after you smoke the meth. That's what's happening, or crack, whatever, however you do it. I don't know. And the Catholic Church is the distribution center. Talk about having a form of godliness and denying the power thereof. Amen? Like 2 Timothy 3, I think that is. Form of godliness denying the power of, literally partnering with a federal government that is empowering more and more drug use in our country. Now, an important question, again, engaging culture with discernment, not arguing. Where do these ideas come from? Where do the ideas that we should fund clean pipes and clean needles for drug users come from? The Huffington Post talks about this, and there's a few experts in the federal government that considers these crack pipes and needles to be akin to condoms for safe sex for teenagers. In other words, the mentality is, well, they're going to do it anyway. Teens are always going to have sex, so give them condoms paid for by the taxpayer. So drug addicts are going to do drugs, so give them free, clean needles, and so on and so forth. And I only bring this up to illustrate something for you to understand as a Christian. This is how the world handles problems that are rooted in the sinful condition. And by the way, this is probably the best the world can do with addiction and enslavement to the flesh and the things of this world. Because according to the world, when you take sin out of the equation, as our country has very successfully done, no one's a sinner. No one is a sinner. Everyone is a victim of their feelings, a victim of harm, a victim of their addiction, so everybody can play the victim card. No such thing as sin anymore. And whenever you do that, you create a deteriorating society. So let's make it easier, and this is how the world handles these problems. Let's make it easier for them to remain victims safely. No empowerment, no freedom, and no deliverance. Like this, but again, Christians, don't get mad. Don't get upset, because this is the world being the world. This is the world being the world. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, because it's important to me to get feedback from you. You've got to address culture with discernment, not argument. But it is unreal what we see, and at the same time, it should be expected as Christians. It's a reminder. And this is an important reminder. Are you ready for it? Only Jesus sets the captives free. Oh, what do you have? You have drug users on the streets of LA right now. The Catholic Church is literally handing them the needles. And the Catholic Church abandoning, whatever Catholic Church that is, not the entire Catholic Church, but that particular Catholic Church, abandoning the gospel and using worldly means to solve spiritual problems. This is why I do what I do. This is why the deep end is here, because we've got to get to the gospel. The gospel is the power of God unto salvation to everyone who believes. The government can subsidize our ability to destroy ourselves, and it will lead to higher taxes and larger federal government programs that will do more damage to humankind than good. It has happened for decades in this country. Our political arguments are right down this very line. Do we hand more of our lives over to a growing, inflated federal government, or do we self-govern as the Constitution stipulates, reminding ourselves that the Constitution only works if we can govern ourselves? Sadly, we're seeing that the demise of America is rooted not in the wrong political party being in power, but in our abject failure to empower people in the gospel, empower people in the scriptures, as we used to do, we did at one point. We did honor and respect churches and Christianity in this country. We did at one point have our children praying in public schools, learning the Bible in public schools, and we didn't have these problems. Well, we had other problems, but we didn't have these problems. And it seems like even the problems that we solved after we took the Bible out of public school are back, such as racism and segregation, which is happening on a reverse kind of ideal from the 1960s, in that we have separate graduations now for people of color, which I don't understand at all. But anyway, not to demonize the world, just to show you that you've got to see politics, you've got to see culture rightly. Friends, we're Christians. We love the sinner. We love those who oppose us and disagree with us, because we're not enemies of people. There's a spiritual enemy that is at work behind the scenes. And we cannot be ignorant of what's really going on. Unfortunately, while we love the sinner and even love and serve those who disagree with us and hate us, we are going to continually be demonized. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to check out more content from the channel, you can click here, or you can go here. Oh, and I also preach on the weekends, and if you'd like to watch some of that, it's right here. Thanks for being here.